Good evening and welcome to our 38th virtual prayer meeting. My name is Doug Hornock and I'm the pastor at Mid-Valley Bible Church. When I was much younger than I am now, in fact, just a little boy, growing up in this valley in Kearns, I remember at Christmas we used to measure how well we were doing in the area of gift receiving by the number and size of the wrapped presents that were under the Christmas tree. Whoever had the most gifts and the biggest boxes was deemed to be doing the best. And some of us would often complain before the presents were opened that our stash wasn't quite what it should be. We were being shortchanged and cheated. And I remember my mother saying, "Douglas, remember, good things come in small packages." And she was right. For something to be good and meaningful, it doesn't have to be big and long. Now, what's true of gifts is also true of books in our Bible. Sometimes the most profound and helpful truths are tucked away in obscure, small, and often neglected places. And if we're not careful, they can easily be overlooked. And that is certainly the case when it comes to the smallest book in the New Testament, which is 2 John, that contains around 300 words in the English Bible. And my guess is that many of you have never bothered to even read that book. Perhaps you thought that epistle along with 3 John were so short they couldn't possibly be of any value. And that's tragic, because tucked away in this tiny New Testament letter is a profound verse for our times. Because John has something to say at the close of his second epistle that speaks to our current situation. In fact, it's really quite remarkable how relevant and directly applicable it is to us today. And so I want to take a break from our study of the Lord's Prayer and draw your attention to it. Now, the subheading in my Bible says, Final Greetings. And that in and of itself would lead many to think that they can stop reading. I mean, after all, what possible spiritual value is there in a greeting that John sent to a group of Christians in the first century that he was writing to? Well, the answer is plenty. Here's what John wrote in verse 12. He said, "Though I have many things to write to you, I would rather not use paper and ink. Instead, I hope to come to you and talk face to face so that our joy may be complete." John was writing to people he obviously loved. He cared deeply about them. But up until now, he had only been able to interact with them by means of paper and ink. And as wonderful as that may have been, it fell immeasurably short of talking face to face. His joy to that point of time was real, it was genuine, it was sincere, but it remained stunted and unfulfilling until such a time as John could be physically present with these believers and see their faces and look them directly in the eye. Now, I want to draw a straight line from that first century to ours. John's paper and ink were the ancient equivalent of our text messages and cell phones and emails, our Skype, Zoom, and YouTube sermons. And I thank God that over the past few months, on Sunday mornings and also on Tuesday and Thursday nights, I've been able to communicate the life-giving, Christ-exalting, saint-encouraging, life-building truths of God's Word by means of the internet. I'm grateful for Zoom, by which I've met with family and at times other pastors. But I've got to tell you, my joy in ministry has been incomplete. Now it's there, it's real, it's been fulfilling, and I suppose now I can add to my resume that I'm a televangelist, but it's fallen short, woefully short, of what God intended the church to be. Of being able to stand before God's people and talk to them face to face. And I can't help but believe that when John's readers received this letter, they were ecstatic. They were thrilled at the prospect of getting together face to face. And that they too cried aloud, "Oh, that we might see you, John, and look into your eyes and hear the words of life and encouragement that God has placed on your heart for us." And I share all of that to make you aware of the fact that we as a church are planning to reopen for in-person worship on Sunday, August 23rd. Last Sunday night, all of the elders and all but one of the deacons met for almost 2 hours at the church. And we prayed, and we discussed openly and freely and honestly what we should do. And at the end of that evening, there was complete unanimity that we should open on the 23rd of August. I'm sure some of you may be asking, why not this Sunday? Well, the reason is simple. We need and want to put into place the best protocol we can have for meeting together physically, safely, and responsibly. And also to have ready the best live streaming or video recording we can possibly have for those of you who are unable to attend for health reasons. And I know that there will be many of you who are in that category. And I assure you, we're not going to neglect anyone. Now, we're going to share in the coming weeks exactly how we're going to implement the logistics of all of this. So as we go to prayer tonight, my prayer is that as we look forward to August 23rd, that we all would echo the sentiments of John and say with heartfelt sincerity, "Though I have much to say to you, I would rather not use the internet. I don't want to use YouTube anymore. Instead, I long to be in your physical presence and talk to you face to face so that our joy may be complete." And so with that in mind, let's now go to prayer.